Beloved chosen one, slow down and listen with your spirit, not just your ears. The tension you feel in the air is not anxiety, it is adjustment. Heaven is active right now, moving pieces you cannot see, touching conversations you were never invited into, rearranging timelines without asking your permission. And the reason it feels uncomfortable is because comfort has expired. You are not losing control, you are being repositioned. There are moments when life goes quiet in strange ways. No big disasters, no dramatic collapse, just a steady sense that something is off. You wake up and routines feel empty. Goals that once excited you now feel heavy. This is not burnout. This is transition. Heaven always works silently before it works suddenly. Look at your career. Perhaps you are still employed, still functioning, still showing up, but inside, you know you have outgrown the room. Meetings feel repetitive. Your ideas are no longer received the way they once were. You start asking yourself, why am I still here? What you don't see is that heaven is loosening your attachment before opening a new door. If God moved you too fast, fear would follow you. So he shifts you slowly, internally first. This is how divine rearrangement works: inward discontent before outward change. Your finances may also be reflecting this shift. You are not broke, but you are being stretched. Money comes in, but it leaves just as quickly. It forces you to become intentional, prayerful, disciplined. Heaven is training you for increase by refining your relationship with provision. Overflow without wisdom becomes destruction. So God adjusts the flow before he increases the volume. And then there is family. This part hurts the most. People who once understood you now misunderstand your silence. You are changing, but you don't yet have language for it. You love them, but you can no longer shrink to keep peace. Heaven is teaching you a painful lesson. Not everyone can come with you, even if they love you. Tanada. This does not mean rejection, it means assignment. Let me ask you something directly, without softening it. If God is rearranging everything, why are you clinging to what he is trying to move behind the scenes? Conversations are happening in your favor. Opportunities are being delayed because timing matters. Protection is working quietly. You may feel unseen, but you are never unguarded. What you call nothing happening is actually heaven saying, not yet, this must be set correctly. Here is the hope, and it is very real. The season ahead will not require you to force doors. You will not have to beg for recognition. The right environment will recognize you naturally. Provision will feel lighter. Peace will no longer be fragile. You will look back at this moment and realize if things had stayed the same, you would have stayed small. Heaven rearranges not to confuse you, but to free you. Anchor your heart in this ancient truth, spoken for moments exactly like this, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Added, not chased, not forced, added in the right order. Before we move forward, take one step of alignment. If this message speaks to where you are right now, like it, share it with someone who feels stuck but cannot explain why, and subscribe so you stay connected as this message unfolds. And now, your response, simple but intentional. At the end of this section, type 444 in the comments. Not as a trend, but as a declaration that you trust divine order over visible chaos. Ask yourself honestly, can you remain faithful while heaven rearranges what you cannot yet see? And remember this: chosen one, when heaven rearranges quietly, it is because the outcome is too valuable to rush. What is forming now will not collapse under pressure. When the shift becomes visible, you will not need to explain your growth, your peace, clarity, and authority will speak for you. So breathe. Stay obedient in small things. Keep your heart clean while things feel unclear. This season is not asking you to run ahead or fall back, only to stand firm. Very soon, what feels confusing today will make perfect sense, and you will thank God for every unseen adjustment. Before the crowds, before the miracles, before the cross and the resurrection, there was silence. Jesus lived nearly 30 years in obscurity before stepping into just 3 years of public ministry. No platform, no applause, no visible results. He worked with his hands, obeyed his parents, walked the same roads every day and waited. Heaven was not late. Heaven was exact. This is where many people misunderstand delay. They think hidden years mean wasted years. But in the kingdom, hiddenness is not absence, it is incubation. Jesus was not inactive. He was being prepared in ways no crowd could see. Character was being forged. Authority was being rooted. Obedience was being perfected in ordinary days. This matters deeply for you because your life right now may feel like those 30 years. You are faithful, but unseen. Capable, but unrecognized. Ready, but not released. You keep asking, why am I still here while heaven is asking? Are you becoming who you need to be? Think about your daily routine. You wake up, go to work, handle responsibilities, pay bills, take care of family. Nothing dramatic happens. No breakthrough headlines. No sudden elevation, just repetition. And yet, this is exactly where preparation happens. Jesus did not bypass normal life to reach destiny. He entered it fully. Consider your job. Maybe you feel overqualified and underutilized. You know you could do more, lead more, create more, but instead, you are assigned tasks that feel small. Heaven is watching how you handle what seems insignificant. Do you stay faithful when no one is praising you? Do you maintain integrity when advancement is slow, authority in public is always built in private? Now think about your finances. You budget carefully. You stretch what you have. You dream of stability or abundance. But right now, it feels like maintenance mode. This season is not about lack, it is about discipline. Jesus learned responsibility before authority, stewardship before impact. Heaven does not rush people into blessing that would crush them later. Even your relationships reflect this hidden season. You may feel misunderstood, overlooked, or ahead of the people around you. Conversations feel shallow. You are growing, but others don't see it yet. This loneliness is not rejection, it is refinement. Jesus walked among people who did not know who he truly was. He learned patience without explanation. Let me ask you something directly. If heaven released you fully right now, would your inner foundation support the weight of it? The delay you are experiencing is not denial, it is precision. God does not prepare platforms first. He prepares people, and preparation takes time. A sword is not rushed out of the fire. If it leaves too early, it breaks in battle. Here is the hope, and it is grounded in truth. When Jesus finally stepped into his calling, nothing was missing, no skill lacked, no wisdom absent. The timing was perfect, and the impact eternal. Your life will mirror this pattern if you allow it. What is forming now will make sense later. Heaven is not ignoring you. It is trusting you with a process. To anchor this truth, remember this declaration from Scripture. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 49, verse 2. He made my mouth like a sharpened sword. In the shadow of his hand he hid me. He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver. Hidden, not forgotten. Concealed, not discarded. One day, when your season shifts and people will say it happened suddenly, They will not see the years of obedience, restraint, and quiet growth. But you will know. And more importantly, heaven will know it was done right. So do not despise the ordinary days. They are shaping your instincts, strengthening your endurance, and teaching you how to listen before you speak. What feels uneventful now is quietly building the weight your future calling will require. There will come a moment when the waiting ends without warning. The same environment that ignored you will suddenly recognize you, not because you changed overnight, but because what was hidden has finally been authorized to appear. Until then, remain steady, then keep showing up. Keep choosing obedience when no one is watching. Heaven never wastes seasons. When your time comes, you will step forward without scrambling, fully formed, carrying quiet confidence that cannot be shaken. There comes a moment in the life of every chosen one when resistance increases without explanation. Nothing outwardly changes, yet inwardly the pressure intensifies. You try to rest, but your spirit stays alert. You try to move forward, but progress feels strangely slowed. This is not opposition winning, it is exposure beginning. Heaven is not only rearranging opportunities, it is also rearranging people. Some influences that once had access to you are being restricted. Some voices that once guided you are being muted, and some hidden intentions, good and bad, are being brought into the light. This stage feels uncomfortable because clarity always disrupts illusion. You see this clearly in your work environment. Perhaps co-workers who once collaborated now compete. A manager who once supported you now questions you. Tension rises without an obvious cause. What is happening is not personal, it is positional. When God begins to elevate someone internally, the environment reacts before the promotion manifests. Systems sense change before announcements do. The same applies to friendships. You may notice certain people pulling away when you stop over-explaining, stop chasing, stop shrinking. When your boundaries strengthen, some connections weaken. This does not mean you have become cold. It means you have become clear, and clarity always offends confusion. Even in family dynamics, truth surfaces. Old patterns no longer work. Roles you played for years no longer fit. You are no longer the one who absorbs everything to keep peace. This shift may cause conflict, but it also creates honesty. God does not heal what we keep pretending is fine. Let me ask you directly, are you willing to lose familiarity to gain alignment? This section of the journey is about discernment. Heaven is sharpening your perception. You start noticing what drains you and what strengthens you. You become less impressed by words and more attentive to patterns. This is not judgment, it is wisdom awakening. Financially, this discernment shows up as restraint. You become less impulsive. You think long-term. You say no to quick gains that cost peace. Heaven is training you to recognize what looks good versus what is good. Temporary relief is not the same as lasting provision. Here is the hope, and it is concrete. Once discernment matures, confusion fades. You stop second-guessing yourself. Decisions feel cleaner. You no longer need constant validation because you trust the inner alignment God has established. Life becomes simpler not because it is easier, but because it is clearer. This is also where courage forms. Not loud courage, but quiet firmness. The kind that allows you to stand without explanation. The kind that says, I know what I carry, without needing to prove it. That courage will soon be required because clarity always precedes responsibility. Anchor yourself in this truth that has echoed through generations. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 8, verse 14. For those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God, led not pushed, guided not rushed. Now, pause here for a moment of intentional agreement. I want you to comment a short phrase, no more than 4 words. Aligned, not confused. Do not treat this lightly. This is not a trend or a habit. This sentence is a declaration that even when circumstances feel unsettled, your inner direction is clear. By writing it, you are choosing alignment over anxiety, discernment over noise. You are declaring that heaven's rearrangement is bringing order, not chaos, into your life. As this section closes, understand this: what feels like loss right now is actually excess being removed. What feels like exposure is actually protection activating. Heaven is teaching you how to see clearly so you can move confidently. The next stage will require that clarity. And because of what is happening now, you will be ready. When you write aligned, not confused, you are stating that your spirit understands what your eyes cannot yet see. You are declaring that even while circumstances shift, your inner compass remains steady. This phrase means you trust the direction of heaven more than the noise of the moment. It also signals maturity. You are no longer reacting emotionally to every change or delay. Instead, you are choosing discernment over panic, patience over impulse. By declaring this, you are agreeing to walk calmly through transition, confident that clarity is forming even before answers arrive. Pressure has a sound. It is not loud, but it is constant. It hums beneath your thoughts when you lie awake at night. It tightens your chest when responsibilities stack higher than reassurance. This pressure is not here to crush you. It is here to concentrate you. What you are feeling is not collapse, it is compression. And compression always precedes elevation. Before anything rises, it is pressed. You are in a season where expectations are increasing even though recognition has not yet arrived. More is required of you. Less is explained to you. Margin feels thinner. This is not because you are failing, it is because you are being trusted. Heaven does not add weight randomly. It adds weight intentionally, knowing exactly what you can carry and what you must grow into. Look closely at your work life. You may notice that complicated problems quietly find their way to you. Situations others avoid are placed in your hands without ceremony. You are asked to hold things together while others step back. This is pressure. Yes, but it is also proof. Heaven is testing your stability before it grants you authority. Titles come later. Capacity comes first. In your finances, pressure feels like responsibility sharpening. You think twice now. You plan instead of reacting. Impulse has lost its appeal. This is not restriction, it is refinement. Those who will manage abundance must first survive restraint without bitterness. Heaven is teaching you how to remain steady regardless of flow. In family and relationships, the pressure appears as boundaries. You can no longer carry everyone's emotions. You cannot rescue people from lessons they refuse to learn. This clarity may feel isolating, but it is healthy. Pressure is teaching you the difference between love and overextension. You are learning that strength does not mean self-erasure. Let me ask you directly, when the weight increases, do you assume something is wrong, or do you recognize that something important is forming? This stage separates those who endure from those who escape. Many numb themselves here. They distract themselves. They romanticize easier seasons, but chosen ones are shaped differently. They stay present. They remain teachable. They learn how to bend without breaking and how to carry weight without becoming hard. Here is the hope, and it is specific. Pressure produces precision. Your words become fewer but truer. Your reactions slow down. Your decisions deepen. You no longer rush to be understood, you choose to be aligned. This is where quiet authority is born. There is a reason heaven allows this weight now. What is approaching your life will require steadiness. Influence without grounding destroys people. Visibility without character ruins assignments. So God presses you not to punish you, but to preserve you. When you rise, you will rise intact. Hold this ancient wisdom close. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 10. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. This is not condemnation, and it is calibration. Strength expands when resistance is faced, not avoided. As this season continues, imagine your journey like walking through a narrow mountain pass. You did not choose the tightness, but it is guiding you upward. And if, along the way, these words feel like a steady presence beside you rather than a voice shouting from behind, allow yourself to notice that. To acknowledge what strengthens you is like leaving a quiet mark on stone, a sign that says, "This place helped me stand." To pass this message to someone carrying similar weight is like placing a lantern in their hands, not pushing them forward, only giving them light. And to remain connected to this flow is simply choosing to stay near the fire when the night grows cold, not because you are told to, but because warmth matters. No pressure, no demand, only recognition. Pressure will not last forever. It never does. But what it produces will. The steadiness forming in you now will carry you when the weight shifts from testing to responsibility. You are not being crushed. You are being shaped. What feels heavy today will soon feel natural. Your strength is adjusting to a higher level of responsibility, and your spirit is learning balance under weight. When the pressure lifts, you will realize it trained you, not traumatized you. Stand steady a little longer. The shaping is almost complete. When release comes, you will move with confidence, not haste, carrying authority that was earned quietly and cannot be taken from you. There are seasons when heaven does not push you forward but gently presses its hand against your pace. You try to move faster, to resolve things quicker, to arrive sooner, yet everything slows down. Conversations take longer, results delay, momentum fades. This is not resistance, this is instruction. God has slowed the rhythm because something in you needs to synchronize before you proceed. Many people fight this season. They interpret slowness as failure. But chosen ones are invited to cooperate, not compete, with divine timing. When God slows life down, He is not withholding progress. He is redefining it. So what does cooperation look like in everyday life? First, it means adjusting how you measure success. In fast seasons, success looks like outcomes. In slow seasons, success looks like obedience. Did you show up fully today? Did you do the small thing well? Did you listen before acting? These questions matter more than visible results right now. In your work life, cooperating with a slowed rhythm may mean resisting the urge to overprove yourself. You do not need to send one more email, explain one more time, or force recognition. Instead, focus on excellence in what is already assigned. When God slows promotion, He often accelerates preparation. Skill is being refined, integrity is being observed, patience is being counted. A practical step here is this: begin your workday with intention, not urgency. Decide what truly needs your best energy instead of reacting to everything that demands attention. Slowness teaches prioritization. In finances, cooperation looks like restraint without fear. You may want to rush investments, chase opportunities, or force financial growth, but this season calls for wisdom over speed. Track your spending. Delay unnecessary purchases to our needs. Build habits that support long-term stability. Slower money seasons train discernment. They teach you to separate needs from impulses. Another step: create margin. Margin in your budget, margin in your time, margin in your expectations. God often slows income growth to teach sustainability. Overflow without structure collapses quickly. In relationships, cooperating with slowness means allowing distance to do its work. Not every silence needs filling. Not every misunderstanding needs immediate resolution. Some connections need space to reveal their true nature. When God slows relational movement, He is clarifying alignment. Ask yourself, am I chasing connection or am I cultivating health? One practical action is to reduce over-explaining. Speak clearly, then allow time to respond. Trust that what is meant to stay will not require constant persuasion. Even spiritually, slowness has purpose. Your prayer life may feel quieter. Answers feel delayed. This is not absence, it is deepening. God slows the pace so you learn to sit with Him, not just ask from Him. Stillness builds sensitivity. Sensitivity builds discernment. Here is a powerful habit for this season. Begin ending your day with reflection instead of review. Not what did I accomplish, but what did I learn? Slower seasons are classrooms, not waiting rooms. Let me ask you directly, what are you trying to rush that God is asking you to absorb? Here is the hope, and it is very practical. When you cooperate with divine timing, anxiety decreases. You stop fighting the current and start floating with purpose. Decisions feel lighter. Rest becomes productive. You realize that speed was never your strength, alignment was. Slowness also protects you. Many mistakes happen when momentum outpaces wisdom. God slows you down to save you from consequences you would regret later. What feels like delay today will feel like mercy tomorrow. Anchor yourself in this guiding truth from Scripture. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not delay." Notice the paradox. It may feel slow, but it is not late. Appointed time means precision, not procrastination. As this section closes, I want you to take one intentional action of agreement. Comment the number 888 below, not casually. This number represents alignment, balance, and completion through order. By typing it, you are saying, I will stop rushing what God is regulating. You are choosing cooperation over control. And ask yourself this final question: if God is slowing you down to protect your future, can you trust Him enough to walk at His pace? There comes a quiet turning point in this journey where everything depends on obedience. Not effort, not loud obedience, not dramatic sacrifice, but the simple daily choice to respond when God nudges, even when it feels inconvenient, illogical, or small. This is the moment where heaven waits, not because it is uncertain, but because timing is locked to your response. Acceleration in the kingdom never begins with speed, it begins with submission. You may assume that obedience will feel heroic, but most of the time it feels ordinary. It sounds like, don't say that. Wait before you decide. Let that go. Reach out, walk away. These instructions are rarely announced. They are whispered, and because they are subtle, they are easy to ignore. Think about your work life again. There may be an opportunity you could take by bending a value slightly. No one would notice. It would move you ahead faster, yet something in you hesitates. That hesitation is not fear, it is guidance. Obedience here may cost speed temporarily, but it preserves trust long-term. Heaven accelerates those it can trust under pressure. Or consider finances. You feel prompted to save instead of spend, to give when it feels uncomfortable, to delay a purchase even when you can afford it. Obedience in money matters is rarely exciting, but it is powerful. It aligns you with provision that does not carry regret. When you follow these quiet instructions, you are not losing, you are positioning. In relationships, obedience can be painful. It may mean ending conversations that drain you, apologizing first when you feel justified, choosing silence instead of defense, loving without controlling. These decisions slow the ego but strengthen the spirit. God accelerates destinies through people who obey relationally, not just spiritually. Let me ask you directly, what instruction have you been postponing because it feels too small to matter? This is where many miss it. They wait for a big command, a dramatic sign, a clear voice. But acceleration is triggered by faithfulness in details. When God sees you respond quickly to small guidance, He increases clarity. When He sees you delay, He waits not to punish, but to protect, but to... Here is something important: obedience creates momentum. Not obedience to outcomes, but obedience to direction. You do not need the full picture. You only need the next step. And often, that next step feels unrelated to your goal. But heaven connects dots you cannot yet see. There is also fear here. Obedience requires trust. Trust requires surrender. And surrender means releasing control. You may worry that if you obey, you will lose leverage, miss opportunities, fall behind. But obedience never puts you behind it, places you exactly where timing can find you. Here is the hope, and it is vivid. When obedience unlocks acceleration, things move suddenly but smoothly. Doors open without force. Conversations align. Provision arrives without panic. What once took effort now flows. This is not coincidence. This is alignment activated. You will notice the change internally first. Anxiety reduces, resistance fades. You feel lighter, clearer, steadier. This is how you know acceleration has begun, not by speed, but by peace. Anchor yourself in this truth that has guided countless journeys. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 5, verse 33. Walk in all the ways that the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live and prosper and prolong your days. Walk, not run, not rush. Walk. Prosperity follows direction, not haste. One more thing you must understand. Obedience does not mean perfection. It means responsiveness. You will not always get it right. But a willing heart moves faster than a flawless plan. Heaven accelerates those who listen quickly, not those who never stumble. Soon you will look back and realize that the smallest yes shifted the entire timeline. The call you made, the boundary you kept, the habit you changed, the delay you accepted. These were not random choices, they were keys. And when acceleration comes, it will not feel chaotic. It will feel earned, calm, ordered, like stepping onto a moving walkway you didn't build, but were prepared for. Obedience is not the end of control. It is the beginning of flow. When the pace finally shifts, you will recognize it instantly. Nothing will feel forced. You will move with clarity instead of urgency, confidence instead of striving. The season of waiting will dissolve into purposeful motion, and you will know obedience carried you here safely. Now you are standing at the edge of what has been quietly prepared for you. Not rushed, not pushed, simply revealed. Everything that once felt scattered is beginning to settle, not because life suddenly softened, but because you became aligned. Heaven's rearrangement is no longer hidden. You can feel it in how you breathe, how you choose, how you no longer panic when answers take time. You are different now. The waiting taught you patience. The pressure shaped your strength. The slowing refined your sight. The obedience unlocked movement. This is not an ending. This is emergence. Look honestly at your daily life, at work. You are no longer chasing approval. You carry quiet authority. People listen when you speak. Even when you say little, you no longer rush to prove your value. You know it. And this inner certainty changes how others respond to you. Heaven prepared you to lead without noise. In finances, fear has lost its grip. You may not have excess yet, but you have order, and order attracts increase. You make decisions with calm intention instead of urgency. Money no longer controls your mood. It has become a servant, not a master. This is how God prepares His chosen for expansion, by first restoring peace and stewardship. In relationships, you have stopped negotiating your worth. You allow people to meet you where they are, or not at all. Love feels lighter now. Boundaries no longer feel harsh. They feel honest. You have learned that alignment sometimes costs closeness, but it always produces peace. Let me ask you one final, piercing question. Can you now see why the old version of your life could not go where you are headed? Nothing was wasted. Nothing was accidental. Nothing arrived too late. The version of you standing here was required for what comes next. Here is the hope you can hold on to with certainty. The road ahead will not feel frantic. It will feel right. You will know when to move and when to wait. Doors meant for you will open without force. Responsibility will come, but panic will not. This is the reward of alignment, clarity without striving. Hold fast to this truth, as the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 9. What no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love Him. Prepared, not improvised, not rushed, prepared. As this journey reaches its quiet close, imagine this message as a place you pause to rest along the road. If these words strengthened you, steadied you, or helped you see more clearly, to press like is like placing a stone at the exact spot where your heart shifted. No announcement, just a marker that says something changed here. If someone you care about is still walking through confusion, pressure, or delay, sharing this message is like opening a gate you already passed through, silently telling them, there is room for you too. Light multiplies when it is offered, never when it is forced. And if you sense a desire to return to listen again when the path narrows or the night feels longer, subscribing is simply choosing to keep a compass in your pocket. Not because you are lost, but because direction matters when the terrain changes. Before you go, leave a brief comment, just a sentence that reflects where you are now. Let it be a quiet witness to the alignment you feel inside, a personal marker of this moment. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. Heaven has finished rearranging what needed to move, and now you step forward, not searching, not striving, but sent. Carry this awareness with you into ordinary moments. Let it shape how you speak, how you wait, how you choose calm over reaction. The rearrangement did not end here. It continues through every quiet decision you now make with confidence. When doubts try to return, remember how far you have come without rushing, without forcing. Peace is now your signal. Clarity is your companion. You no longer need signs. Everywhere you recognize alignment by how steady your spirit remains. Walk forward without looking back too often. Gratitude will keep you grounded, humility will keep you safe, and trust will keep you moving. What is ahead will meet you at the right pace, because you are finally walking in step with heaven. As this message gently comes to rest, nothing is being demanded from you. There is no pressure to decide, no need to react quickly, no obligation to feel anything in particular. What was meant for you has already reached you. What was not meant to stay will naturally fade. If something in these words steadied you even briefly, allow that to matter. Sometimes usefulness does not arrive as excitement, but as quiet confirmation. a sentence that slowed your breath, a thought that lingered longer than expected, a feeling of being understood without being exposed. You do not have to explain that to anyone. And if you sense that these words could serve someone else, someone navigating delay, pressure, or silent change, sharing them is not an announcement. It is simply an offering, like leaving a door slightly open, not insisting they enter, only letting them know the space exists. Light is most powerful when it is given freely, but if sharing does not feel right, that is okay too. You are allowed to keep what touched you. Some insights are meant to be carried privately, unfolded slowly, lived out rather than spoken about. Not every truth needs an audience. Some truths are seeds, not signals. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Trust your own discernment. This message does not ask you to arrive anywhere. It only reminds you that movement is already happening, often quietly, often beneath the surface. You do not need to label it. You do not need to rush it. Awareness itself is enough for now. Wherever you go next, back into routine, into uncertainty, into rest, go gently. Let patience walk beside you. Let clarity speak softly. Let timing do what it does best. And if one day, in some moment ahead, you remember a line from this message and it helps you choose calm over fear, trust over control, then this time together has already served its purpose. Nothing more is required.